Kind of cool. So these came all the way from Spain, and they're muy fragile. Let's see what we've got in here. No way! No way!
It's cool. Your rain wheels.
I can't wait for you. I'm going to open one.
I can't open it.
Wow! Here they are.
Whoa.
The Powerslide Torrent rain wheel. It won't come out of the box. I've got 3 anyway, that will do. So wow, look at these. So like the K2s were like shiny.
Yeah.
Do you remember? They were like a really shiny, hard plastic, and you thought, how are they gonna grip on anything?
But we tested them out and they
tested them out, and they, like on the glass tabletop, they kind of stuck like some weird kind of like futuristic plastic that sticks to slippery stuff.
And this feels a lot like gravel.
This feels like
Some sort of like pretty smooth gravel.
it feels like, yeah, like a worn out wheel. But that's kind of cool. It's like I think it's got smashed up stone powder in here or something.
Should we test it on the glass?
Mixed in with it. Let's test it on the glass tabletop.
First?
It's not very. It doesn't grip very well on the table.
Like the floor?
Oh,
Hmm.
not really. Not like the K2s.
No, the other ones.
The K2s you couldn't move them
it.
on glass or the floor. These actually feel slippery, but well, who knows? They're an 84A hardness, so they're quite soft. We just need some rain now.
The beachfront is wet.
The beachfront is wet. All right, so we've got these rain wheels, Powerslide Torrent, and we've been very lucky because we've had some rain. Didn't think I'd ever say that, but so it's wet. It's not actually raining at the minute, but the ground is wet. So thought we'd give these a go and see what we think. Well, my initial impression of them is that they're not very good. The rough ground. Okay, well these are slightly smoother bit. Okay, foot just slips out on that. Whatever that is. Yeah, this bit here. Well, that's not very good. A little slip out on the right foot there. Very plasticky and rattly. That's really weird. Let's try Bottle Alley. Bottle Alley is notoriously slippery. Yeah, there's no grip at all on that. There's no grip at all. Yeah, fucking hell. Oh shit. I can't even get off this. This is just concrete, look. And there is no grip. Oh shit, I'm stuck. Not sure if I want to do anything on that. Okay, yeah, that is like ice. I mean, it's not like ice because on ice skates you stop. That is extremely slippery, and I would not want to do a power slide on those going at full speed. No way. And these wheels are doing something which I really hate, and that is that they behave very differently on different surfaces. See this stuff? It's brickwork. There are bits of it where it's a little bit green, where it just rains a lot. And that is where they do. Yeah, my left foot just went, my left foot is swollen out. These are shit. These are shit wheels. They only really grip on the dry, and they're not very nice to skate on, so you might as well just use the cheap street kicks because they've probably got just as much grip, to be honest with you. Alright, this looks like it's going to be very dodgy. Let's have a look at this. Typical sort of wet floor here. Very typical wet floor that you'd find to skate on. And yeah, there is no grip at all on that. That is impossible to skate on. Shit. No grip whatsoever. Nothing. Okay, so this, we talked about this before, it's not that wet. That feels kind of, I mean, they're not slipping, but there's no grip, if that makes sense. So I wouldn't want to turn corner hard on that. I wouldn't want to do a power slide at any speed, but they will grip on this. Probably not really any better than my normal outdoor wheels. You know, I thought these were going to be really good fun in the wet, but they are not fun. They are terrifying. So yeah, there's not really any. There's not. You wouldn't stop if you were doing speed and you did a power slide. You'd end up doing the splits and smashing your knee on the floor probably. I mean, on the dry here, they feel very plasticky and rattly. They're not very soft. It's not a very nice ride. Yeah. All right, let's have a coffee and reflect on that. I know that was only a quick test, but I wanted to do like a sort of first impression. And my first impression is that I wouldn't have any fun on these at all. I wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw them. Today we're going to try out something completely different here. We've got some cheap stock wheels from Loco Skates, and we're going to try these out in the wet. So I've been waiting for a bit of rain, which we've had this morning, and I want to see how these compare to the professional rain wheels. Let's have a look. Okay, well, already off the bat, I can feel that, well, they've got more grip. We're going to talk about that later. They're obviously not quite as smooth as inline wheels, but the Powerslide Torrents, they're probably about the same as these actually on the rough ground. Well, they're sticking perfectly to this stuff. This is quite wet. The real test is going to be Bottle Alley. But so far so good. Very, very good grip there. No slipping at all. Alright, Bottle Alley. Here we go. Oh. And I've got grip. I've got enough grip to skate here. Now I haven't got loads of grip. I can feel that there is a little bit of slip if I push it. This stuff here, this is unskateable on Powerslide Torrent wheels. This is unskateable, this smooth concrete. These wheels are gripping well enough. I mean, I had a little slip there, a little slip out there on the left. But of course, slip outs on the quads are not as scary as slip outs on inlines because you've got a stable, your foot is stable. Now this shit is very slippery. This stuff here. And I'm actually getting enough grip to push off. Oh, that slip there. But it's skateable. Let's try a stop in the wet. Okay, yeah. Yeah, okay, you don't want to be doing any power slides in the wet. But they are much more skateable. Much more skateable. You've got stability and you've got a lot more grip, and we're going to talk about why that is in a bit. Yeah, baby, we can get some speed on all this wet ground, no problem. This is really good fun. This is what skating is about, having fun. So this is going to be interesting. So on this surface here, this wasn't too bad on the Powerslide Torrents, but this stuff is a death trap. You've got no grip on that whatsoever. Now if you're doing speed skating or something and you come into this at speed and you just coast along it, then I would imagine you might be all right as long as you don't turn or try and stop. But I came on this from a standstill with the Powerslide Torrents, and that was completely unskateable. And there is loads of grip on here. Loads of grip. Even on these wet bits here, yeah. The green bits here, you see all this green stuff? Forget that on inlines, you're fucked. Yeah, I've got grip. I've got enough grip to skate. A little slip out there, I had a little slip on my right leg there. But that's very skateable. Look, here's a wet bit here. Yep. It's a little bit slippery, but you don't get the huge problems that you get with inlines. This was pretty bad as well, actually. This stuff in it. This stuff was quite bad as well on the Powerslide Torrents, and these wheels. Right. These wheels have got loads of grip. Wow. I'm going to link to these wheels in the description. They're £12 for 4. So here we are. I'm going to have a look at these wheels. Talk about some of the benefits of using quads in wet weather. I mean, there are lots of benefits to using quads anyway. Like, for example, not having to do them up. It really just does my head in having to tighten up my inline skates. It takes ages to put them on, and if you've got a big jacket on or whatever, you're trying to fold yourself over to reach down. You can't reach the bloody things because you've got all your clothes in the way and your jacket. You can't breathe while you're trying to do them up. And your feet get all sweaty in these plastic boots, whereas with these, because they're not done up, you get some nice airflow around your feet, so you never get sweaty feet. So that's kind of cool. And they pop on and off like slippers. Isn't that convenient? But let's talk about the bit we're supposed to be talking about, these wheels. I mean, let's have a look at these. They are enormous. Look at them. They look like old wheels, which used to come out in sort of 80s and 90s. They're very big. They're 70 millimeters tall, so they're enormous for quad wheels, and they're very wide. I'll measure them later, but I think they're about 4 centimeters wide, which is a lot. And that is one of the reasons why they're performing so well on wet ground, is because of the amount of plastic that you've got on the floor. So when you're in inline skates, you've got more pressure on the floor on the wheels, because you've got less wheels on the ground. So you might only have 2 or 3 or 4 wheels on the ground, depending on how your skates are set up. But a lot of people like to skate in the street with rockered skates because it allows them to be able to actually move around and maneuver. And when you've got rockered skates, you might only have 1 or 2 wheels on the ground when you're actually turning or trying to stop. And so there is a lot of pressure there, which is quite good when it's dry. So you get some benefit there when it's you get a bit of you get good grip when it's dry, because of the amount of pressure that's on one spot. You've got your whole weight on basically this small points of contact on the ground. But when you've got a wet surface, then that is just going to slip. It doesn't matter how much weight you've got, it's going to slip out. And obviously it depends on the surface. So asphalt is quite good for skating in the wet in inline wheels, and the Powerslide Torrent wheels, they do perform okay on asphalt. They're not bad. I don't feel as safe as I do in the quads, but they're not bad. It's when you get onto these concrete tiles and these bricks, the floors that are made of bricks in the town, and the concrete tiles and things like that, and very smooth concrete like we have in Bottle Alley in Hastings. There's just nothing for the wheel to grip on for an inline skate, and so you slip out. And when you get that slip out, it's quite scary because your foot is then at an angle, and you can't keep yourself upright because your foot is basically like that. But with quad skates, when they slip out, they slip like that and they stay upright. And that, for me, that is a better option if you're going to slip, because if you're going to skate in the wet, it doesn't matter what wheels you've got, they are going to slip at some point. And if your wheel's going to slip, I'd rather have my foot stay upright in the right position, level and flat, because it makes it much easier to recover. And you can, I mean, people watching can't even see that you've slipped, whereas with quad skates, with inline skates, sorry, you've got that slip, and then you've lost your footing. You're only really keeping yourself upright on your left foot if your right foot slips out. So yeah, with the quads, I feel a bit you've got more stability there, and that's better. I think that is better if you're going to skate in the wet, to be honest with you. This is an interesting one as well. This wet toilet floor, I could hardly stand up in here on the Powerslide Torrents. I've actually got quite it is a bit slippery still, but I've actually got quite a lot of grip and control on these wheels in here, on these loco skates, cheapy wheels. Actually really good. It's handy, isn't it? Look at this is pretty nasty. This is quite wet, and this would be really slippery in the Powerslide Torrent wheels. And it is a little bit less grippy. See how easy it is to slide. But I've still got grip, I can still give it a good old push and get myself going. So what's the verdict then? Well, the verdict is I don't like the Powerslide Torrent wheels, and they were a huge disappointment to me. I knew it wasn't going to be like skating in the drive, but they're terrible. They really are. These Street Kings wheels that are just about £3 each, that came with the plates on my skates, they are a much nicer skate. They roll better, and their grip is probably just as good on these as it is on these, to be honest with you. These grip reasonably well on the road, but then so do most wheels, because the asphalt is very coarse, and there's a lot of places for the wheel to get stuck in there in the rough surface. Now, I understand why inline skaters who are particularly interested in speed skating might be interested in these, and maybe if they were bigger, maybe like maybe if they were like 110 or 125 mil, you've got more plastic on the ground, maybe they would be better. But the whole experience was pretty horrible. I mean, they're very rattly. They feel kind of soft, but they feel like they're made of like a hard plastic when you're skating them. You get all of the bumps and vibrations. They're not smooth at all. Whereas these are also an 85A, but these are super soft and smooth. So they're not a good ride. And as you saw in the video, they don't grip at all on many surfaces. Now, a lot of people are going to argue with me on this and say, well, professional speed skaters use these wheels, and that may be the case. But in the videos I've seen, they're using larger wheels, and they are skating on roads mainly. I know they go over bits of tiles and things, but they're not trying to skate around town. And this is what I'm aiming this video at, is people who want to skate around town with these, street skating. So if you've seen these and you think these are going to be amazing in the rain, they are useless. Now let's talk about these. These were £12 for 4 wheels. They're Loco Skate budget 80mm wheel, and they have got pretty good grip on a lot of surfaces that the Powerslide Torrent had no grip at all on. They're in the road, these almost skate like you're in the dry. And on the concrete and the tiles and things like that, you get a little bit of slip, but you can still skate in them. They're not just going to slip out all over the place on you so that you're terrified to even move. Now I know that I'm probably going to get flamed in the comments for this, but in my opinion, this is the best setup for the wet. And the reason is because you've got so much rubber on the ground here and in 4 different places. Whereas with the inline skates, especially if they're rockered, you might only have 2 wheels, or the middle 2 or the front 2 on the ground at any time. And if there's a wet patch here, you've got your 2 tiny little points of contact on that wet patch and you're gone. Whereas here, you've got a lot of plastic in 4 different places. So if this bit's slippery here, you might have a little bit of grip here still. And it makes a huge difference. And obviously you're not going to be doing any speed competitions in a very heavy boot like this. These wheels are heavy. But for fun around town, in the rain, this is far superior. And I don't know what it is about these wheels, but my normal quad wheels that I would use would be the Rollerbones Miami. And they're not really much use. They're very slippery outside in the wet. These, for some reason, have a lot of grip, and they're an 80A. I'm not exactly sure what it is. It's just something about the urethane. There's certain types of urethane that are very grippy. And when we looked at the K2 wheels, the Rainfly wheels by K2, we didn't actually test them out, unfortunately, but we noticed that around the home on glass surfaces and mirrors and things, they really stuck. So it was like the type of plastic was really kind of sticky on shiny surfaces, and these aren't. These are slide around on mirrors and glass tables and things. So that was a surprise to me when we unboxed them. I'm going to say that I'm probably not going to use those again. That was a complete waste of money, and they're expensive as well. So get yourself some quads, get yourself some rust-proof bearings, and because if you use your bones bearings and you go out skating in the wet, you are going to be you're going to find that the wheel is just seized up after one skate the next day. But these ones, this is the next day after the skate, and they're still rolling perfectly. So I'm very happy with that, and that's gonna transform my winter for me. So I thought I'd share that with you all.